we should be on Sunday night on Box and Jackalope on YouTube. Let's make sure we're live, because I always do that professional start, as you know. We should be live. We should be live, fellas. Yes. Oh, visibility unlisted. We want to be public. There we go. That would have been bad. Let's just make sure we're live.
It's a private podcast. It's just for us tonight.
It's just us. Nobody. I don't want anyone watching this podcast tonight. It's just if it's a discussion about Sylvanas, it can't be live. That's for sure. All right, we are live now. I have
Yep, just showed up on my thing.
I got Blood Elf music on in the background too. I hope it's not too loud.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there it is.
I'll turn off my ringer real quick on my phone because
it's Insectroid. Hey.
Hey.
Hi, Insect. I hope you're having an epic My Hero Academia filled night. So, we'll get started here in like a pizza minute or two. Because Skoll, actually, this has to be a public announcement, but he just woke up right now. So, yeah. It was very important to tell the stream that. I figured I'd let everybody know. I even, like, had this, like, ZZZZZ text that I was going to put above his name. And, yeah, that's... I apologize, Skoll. Apologize.
Skoll Sleepies.
Skoll Sleepies.
Very sleepies.
I'm sorry, Panarak.
It happens in a blue moon that Skoll sleeps in longer than he should.
I do it too often, to be honest with you. Way too often.
I think it's because my it's like I have spider sense whenever there's like a Sylvanas podcast that's gonna happen, and like my body is just like no more.
I feel like this is gonna be a very positive Sylvanas episode, though. I think
He's
surprisingly,
I see her in my
yeah.
dreams already. I can only handle so much Sylvanas.
Oh no!
I still remember the times of how angry I was during BFA with Sylvanas.
We have
for most of our podcasts.
Yeah, like I was actually gonna bring it. So we're gonna just roll into this with no formal intro with this, but like yeah, like I was gonna bring up today that like we there's even thumbnails of us like kind of hating on BFA Sylvanas a little bit. Like in fact, it's kind of Sylvanas is weird because like I feel like everyone's relationship with the character is as complicated as the writing's been with the character. Because Sylvanas technically kickstarted her whole Machinima series when you think about it. Like, it's a whole random thing, but like...
yeah, in a way, yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for the writing around her, but I really do like, I liked the, like, what is she up to thing in BFA. I think... This cutscene for a lot of people has been very divisive, but I've also seen a lot of people very happy about this cutscene too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just... I don't know if I can really explain it, if I'm the best person to, but essentially Sylvanas' soul is... It's not even really split into two, it's kind of just merging, right? Like with her old self.
Kinda, that's what it seems like.
She's merging with like living Sylvanas or Sylvanas before she died, and the dead Sylvanas is like almost another character, but they're not another character at the same time, so they're gonna become like the same person. Stuff I really liked about this cinematic, obviously Taron Gregory and his team knock it out of the park anytime they do a WoW cinematic.
Yeah.
I really like the animation in this one, especially the facial expressions. Like for the thumbnail in this video, I love the way High Elf Sylvanas looks, by the way. I just want to point that out. Like it made me want to roll like a Void Elf Hunter, just because of that.
Not a Blood Elf.
No, hell no, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I mean, you can get blue eyes as a Blood Elf now, so you know.
Can you? I thought it was only Void Elves, really?
No, they
Blood Elf now too.
No, they changed it. You gotta rep the Horde box. I gotta prevent you from becoming Evo.
Well, all right. I will make a Blood Elf Hunter then, if I do that. But like,
there we go. There we go. I saved the day.
I love like some of the dialogue in this one too, like what Uther says to her, like how like she won't find redemption and she may never be forgiven, but like she has to do something about what's going on because she's like the only one that can do something against Zoval. And I before we get on about Zoval, I'm gonna ban any discussion about him, Garrosh, Mansory, or Rexxar tonight.
Okay, why'd you include Rexxar? I have not interrupted a podcast about Rexxar for a long time.
You just woke up to that. Like, just for that.
Firepaws on the table. Got it.
Firepaws always on the table.
I'm going to outlaw Shen in the next one.
So
it just got personal.
See how you feel about it.
Oh no, you can't do that. We gotta talk about his hat.
We do need to talk about his hat at some point again.
I will say, like, just getting back to the Shattered Legacy cutscene, I actually do, after sitting on it, I do like the story moment for that. Like, I don't know if this is like a major, I don't want to spoil this because it's about our machinima, but like, the idea of that is very interesting. Box hated fun. Whoa. But the idea is very interesting, but I do think like the execution leading up to it was done very like badly. I think that's kind of the general consensus of the community too. That being said, there's kind of an interesting part of, because I've been spoiling a little bit of stuff from 9.2 in the PTR, and I'm sorry if I'm just rambling about this, but like part of me almost like now wouldn't particularly mind if they gave Sylvanas a slow redemption over time. Like, I don't know if like if she survives 9.2, which she will, I wouldn't really hate if she came back to Azeroth, so long as it's not the focal point of the story after this. But I do think at the same time her story could end here and it would be fine. Like, it could have ended in 9.1 really and been fine too, if I'll be honest. But what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think sorry to cut in on you, Skull. I think the slow redemption is definitely going to be, of their options, probably the best. They've got to find a good middle ground because obviously she has a lot of fans, a lot of haters too. But I think a lot of the hate also comes from the fact that she's the focal point right now. Like, in the not so distant past, you know, Thrall was pretty hated because he was everywhere, but it wasn't at all for the same reason. But yeah,
I recall a time in Cataclysm too, Kai, where Garrosh was severely hated when they made him war chief. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I call that Cataclysm launch.
Yep.
But
people don't like change.
I like how I just talked about Garrosh after that too, so I'll point that out. After I said
you broke your own rule. Good job.
As I say, not as I do.
Oh my gosh, Taryn Gregory's watching.
Oh, hey!
Hey, Taryn, how's it going? We were just complimenting you.
We were complimenting you.
That is too awesome.
Holy smokes! And we got Antonio Jones as well.
We got a bunch of cool people in the chat.
Heck yeah.
Holy smokes.
The one and only.
Whoa. We got to get our thoughts back together.
I know, I'm frozen by the...
we're distracted by the celebrity.
We got a special guest. I'm just kidding.
So, Skoll, what were you saying about that before the Garrosh thing?
What was I saying? I remember Jikai was saying stuff about, when Garrosh and Thrall was in the limelight, everyone was really sick and tired of them already. Which I've used the Thrall parallel a lot for my like takes or whatever when it comes to like whenever a character is in the spotlight. Strange, you know what? I remember the same thing for Illidan. I feel like I honestly feel like sometimes the Warcraft community just like when there's a character they don't like and it's in the forefront, they get upset or something. Like Thrall getting the kill on Deathwing, Illidan getting the kill on Gul'dan, Thrall getting the kill on Garrosh. I guarantee you if like Sylvanas kills Lovol, people might be upset about that too. Which is, you know.
I wonder if she's gonna be more a part of that fight or the I mean I don't want to get into like heavy spoilers because there is some stuff like on the PTR I guess, but like I do think the idea it's kind of confirmed that she's a part of the Anduin fight, right? Because that's kind of like been her whole big arc too. Okay.
I mean, it's there in the trailer. She's standing there with Uther and Jaina. So, I mean, I think we could take that from what we will. That
she's at the very least present. Yeah.
And it makes sense because of her role to play in all of this. She's the only one besides Mr. Primus who knows about the domination magic that was used on Anduin. So, it makes sense that she'd be present to stop or rather help Anduin out, and I think that's actually a really good thing for her because throughout Shadowlands we had the multiple cinematics building up to that point. That's probably one of the things that I noticed and what I liked about Sylvanas so far in Shadowlands was the back and forth between her and Anduin. And it's finally at a culmination point now because I think one of the things that I didn't even get to point out in my analysis of the cinematic was that Uther said the same thing that Anduin told Sylvanas, make your choice. And finally she does the right choice, which is something I also referenced in one of the cinematics reactions I made when she backstabbed the jailer, and that was before she got her soul back.
Yeah, and I guess like too, there's like been like that subtle build-up like with the Anduin cinematics where she's kind of like making those faces of like doubt. Because like the thing that I do like about where her plot is going is like, I think Skoll, we've talked about this for a while because I was flip-flopping on it for a while about the plot, but like
you do flip-flop a lot. I've noticed
mainly on Sylvanas, but like I do kind of like the idea of like, well, I think it's good that like the evil Sylvanas isn't going away at all, like, or undead Sylvanas rather, because that was kind of what I was worried about. I
think people were worried that Banshee Sylvanas was gonna go away, and this isn't really a mega spoiler, I don't think, but currently in the PTR she still does her Banshee abilities. So people who were worried about her no longer being a Banshee, don't worry, she's still a Banshee.
I actually like I never got the chance to do the Sylvanas fight. This is a random thing in 9.1.
Oh, I didn't either. I still need to.
Really?
It looked pretty cool though, from some of the videos I saw on it.
One of the things I got to talk about on Twitter with Steve Denuser was that they added a new system that if you just want to do the campaign quests, you don't have to do the raid. They're being a little bit nicer about players who don't sometimes have the time to raid, even in LFR. And they provide you the endgame cinematic in the quests. And they give you context and everything while you do the campaign still. It's really great. They did it for the campaign finale for 9.1.
That is really cool, actually.
Yeah.
It's always... I always think giving more accessibility to people is really good for that, especially for like story content. Because I remember like, this is like a really like old issue, but like kind of before LFR, there's a lot of discussion of like, well, like only this amount of people saw Kill Jaden and Sunwell. You know what I mean? That's like way old talk though.
Yeah, one of the things I remember at the earliest that they did so that everyone could see the Lich King cinematic. Now, granted, you had YouTube, but they added the statue in Dalaran back in Wrath that you could just click on and see the endgame cinematic, and I believe that's still there.
Yeah, and that actually, like, I don't know why, every time I see that statue, like, it gave me goosebumps just seeing Tyrion Fordring on it and stuff. Cool.
I always think that the orc on the statue was supposed to be either Sarfang or Dranosh. That's how I always interpreted that. Like, it was supposed to be Bolvar, Sarfang, and obviously Tyrion.
So I'm gonna toss out a question to both of you because I kind of rambled about it a little bit earlier, and this is a very open-ended question because there's a lot of different answers you'll get from a lot of different people. Where do you personally want Sylvanas' character to go now, after the reveals we've had, and where do you think she's gonna outlive the patch 9.2? And you know what? We'll start with Kai. I'm gonna put him on the spot.
No worries. So where do I want her to go? In truth, I think, as we mentioned before, the slow redemption is kind of the best way they could go with her narratively, in my opinion. Wouldn't want her like leading the Forsaken, but I also don't think she should be retired off to the Shadowlands or something like that. She should be present somewhere. I don't want to say under lock and key, but obviously under close supervision. You know, there's a bit of mistrust towards her with, especially with the Alliance, but in general. At the same time, I wouldn't want her to see her brought back to life, you know, and like lose a key part of her character, in my opinion. That being, you know, she's the Banshee Queen. She's the leader of the Forsaken. Like, these are supposed to be her people, and she's not the same person she was before, you know, whether her soul is restored or not. I will say I do kind of hope there's some in regards of where she's relevant. I hope there's some semblance of her old presence still there. Maybe it's like tugging at her, like to make decisions that, you know, her more moral self, I put that in quotes, knows that like, oh, I shouldn't do this, but then like there's that part of her in the back of her mind that is like, do this, you know, it's for the, you know, it's the best thing for your people, or don't trust them, they're going to, I don't know, treat your people like second-class citizens. And, you know, I kind of enjoyed that aspect of her. She was kind of ruthless and calculating, and granted, she definitely took things a little too far, but characters aren't supposed to be perfect. That's what makes them interesting. Where I think she'll go is... it's honestly hard to... it's really difficult to determine, because it's... I don't envy anybody that has to make that determination, because she's obviously a very controversial character for a lot of people. At the end of the day, it is just a story, you know. Folks should enjoy it, but you know, at the same time, a lot of people are invested in her fate.
I almost feel like that's like the biggest draw of like 9.2 storyline, like even more so than Zoval. I think like the two big drawing things are the three things are Sylvanas' fate, Anduin's fate, which I think like he'll be free with some scarring after all this. Yeah. And not necessarily what happens to Zoval, but what he might do is, I think, what people are curious about.
Yeah, his lasting legacy on the world. Yeah. Sorry.
But do you have anything else you want to throw out about that, Kai?
Not at the moment. I just think, as I said, it's difficult to, because I have been thinking about it. I'm like, where could they take her from here? But like I said, it's difficult to predict. I do think she's going to be relevant in some regard, but she'll be out of the spotlight for a bit, maybe with a few bits and mentions here. But I think for now she will be kind of semi-retired until a better time.
I could see that, kind of like Illidan at the end of Legion.
Right. Or, you know, kind of how Thrall kind of had a light retirement, you know? I mean, he was there, but he wasn't...
I don't think it's going to be a Thrall situation. I think Illidan's a a really good comparison.
Yeah.
Especially for a lot of reasons, because Illidan and Sylvanas actually share a lot of more parallels and similarities to one another.
Right.
Yeah, they actually kind of do when you think about it. Because like, oops, sorry, Skoll, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think like with Illidan, his I don't want to say redemption. His arc though is more subtle, where. Because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, Illidan's just the same character after Legion. Not necessarily, because he opens up and he's a little bit more, he communicates. He's no longer this boxed-in dude who's just like, I have plans within plans, like Sylvanas is. Because he opens up with Velen, and they develop a friendship, and that's like something I never thought was gonna happen in Legion at all. When someone's like, "What do you think is gonna happen in Legion?" Oh, I think maybe Maiev and Illidan might hook up. That's like the most bizarre thing I think that was gonna happen at most. It never does. Yeah, I never expected Velen and Illidan to develop a friendship, and I wonder if something similar is gonna happen with Sylvanas in that extent.
Do you think? Well, obviously, I feel like we will get more moments with like Sylvanas and Uther, because they're.
Oh yeah.
I love their conversations in that cinematic. I know I mentioned it earlier, but like, that line where it's like, you may never be forgiven, but inaction damns us all. Like, it's so cool. And also like this is a small thing, but like her model next patch looks really cool. Like Banshee Sylvanas with the high elf armor on.
Oh yeah, that looks really cool.
It does.
It's like they combined all of her outfits throughout the years, and like, I mean, it's mostly just her high elf look, but still, that looks really cool. I do agree with people that I wish that had a little bit more of a purple motif or a red motif, but at the same time, I get where they're trying to go for.
It's like the Sylvanas like best of almost.
They're trying to. It's like, it's not supposed to be Banshee Sylvanas or Ranger General Sylvanas. It's supposed to be kind of like a middle or something entirely new, which is what they might be going for.
So this is a random thing, but I think one of my favorite parts of the cinematic was like the reference to Vol'jin's death cinematic with the music at the end. And
Skoll, yeah,
Skoll, you brought something up to me about this that was really interesting. At the end, like, they're all leaving Sylvanas, like, because like they don't care about her fate. I think that's what you said about it. And whereas Vol'jin, they were all kind of just watching him because they felt bad. Was that? I remember we talked about that. It might have been off stream a while ago, but I thought that was really cool. And the music though brought me back.
What did I say? It's been a while. My takeaway from it was that so this was a moment for everyone where it was like giving Sylvanas a second chance because she was becoming war chief and Vol'jin believed in her. And in this moment, it's not really the characters giving her a second chance, but it's more like the audience is giving her a third chance to see what she'll do, in a way, because this is kind of like, this is her moment again. Because like, I remember like when she was named war chief, everyone was full of skepticism, but when she made that speech about Vol'jin and how that they'll avenge him, it wasn't about her, it wasn't about the Horde, it was about Vol'jin. And I feel like that's what gave the moment so much power, because everyone kind of felt that. Everyone was like, Vol'jin was great. Vol'jin was a nice guy. Vol'jin was like the Canadian to all war chiefs. Like, he was a cool dude. No one really hated him. Except for like, and that's the thing too, like Sylvanas had tons of skepticism towards a troll being war chief. So you could tell that when, you know, like I could tell from like even back then, like Sylvanas and like the rest of the Horde felt bad about Vol'jin's death. And it's a very powerful moment when Vol'jin made Sylvanas care. So like my takeaway from it was like, and this is something that like Taliesin pointed out, but yeah, it is like a moment where rather than it being like a sad moment with Vol'jin where everyone is like dispersing and carrying away his body and she's standing there not sure what to do, in this moment they know what they want to do with her and they're tired of her. Bane was like, I want her dead, and you know that's like a very big moment when you got Bane Bloodhoof angry at you. Because that guy is just like the cinema. I don't want to like.
I don't want to unchill when you unchill a Tauren to the point he wants you dead. Then you know you've done something wrong.
It's like they. One of the things I remember seeing was like someone was like, "Oh my God, they made Bane act like a Warcraft 3 Tauren," and I was like, "You know what? You're right." Because like Tauren in Warcraft 3 were vicious. I remember that. Like only Karin was kind of like a little tame. But like, yeah, you managed to revert Bane back to Warcraft 3 Tauren. Good job, Sylvanas. And like Thrall wants her dead. I was actually expecting Thrall to be the voice of reason. I remember me and U-Box were talking about how like if anyone's gonna be understanding to Sylvanas' plight, it might be Thrall. But no, even he's like, nuh-uh, I'm done. Which makes sense, because like
I feel like Garrosh might have set him over the edge with patience too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Thrall is really the type to be like, none are irredeemable, but at the same time though, I think that Thrall, like, I do remember this in the raid, Thrall did give Sylvanas a chance again to lay down her lay down her arms and surrender, so it's not like he's not done this before. This is like Garrosh staring at him in the face again, and he's like, "Nuh-uh, I'm not doing another alternate Draenor situation. I don't need to do alternate Silver Moon or whatever the crap."
Shit, here we go again.
Yeah, I feel like Thrall is very much in that situation here, and Jaina, I wasn't surprised by. Jaina's very much, again, like, this is like the past staring at all of these characters in the face, basically. Like, as much as we want to deny it, Sylvanas very much was Garrosh 2.0, but worse. It's like Garrosh 2.0, but he teamed up with Space Satan.
I like that name for Sylval, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I use that for Sargeras more, but...
I thought of Sargeras with that one.
What? I mean, I guess Sylval really is Satan. Like, he's just, you know... He's literally from hell. He's in charge of hell. He was punished and sent to hell for his crimes. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, he actually is.
He's Satan.
I do like his hammer in the next patch. I know it's like a total random thing.
He's had that hammer since 9.1. They never used it for some reason. But that is really cool that he's got a weapon now and everything. But yeah, it's a really good moment. The Vol'jin moment's really powerful. For a lot, like it brings you back to Legion. It brings you back to that moment where everything started, which is true. Like this is where the fire started. I hate the use of that word because, you know,
the speculation behind Sylvanas up to this cinematic actually has been going on like since Vol'jin's death. Like, what is she up to? Why is she working with Helya? Like, it did all kind of come together here.
I really hope that book reveals what the hell was up with her and Helya, because that's been bothering me since Legion.
I just like, I don't know, like this is like a random thing, but like I lost my train of thought actually about this. It was something to do with like the way like her model looked in that cutscene, like for like speculation, like because I thought her model looked awesome, the high elf one especially. Do you guys foresee more updates to like character models like that?
Oh, definitely.
Because I thought she looked really good in that cinematic. Like, I know I talked about it earlier, but like the facial expressions and everything were really cool.
Yeah, that was amazing, honestly. Like this, it's on topic, but not completely. But I mean, could be. I do wonder if there could be a lead-in to like Dark Rangers and stuff for the Forsaken eventually.
Oh, I didn't even get to talk about my thoughts on what's gonna go on with Sylvanas.
I would love
I just
Dark
realized
Rangers and the Horde like being playable.
Yeah.
It's not impossible because we already had Dark Rangers defect from Sylvanas at the end of BFA. They're like, yeah, she's gone too far. So it's not out of the question for Dark Rangers to be accessible I would love a big thing that's going around in the WoW community is people really want like class skins, and I think like Blood Elves and Forsaken should have the option to be Dark Rangers.
That like, yeah, I like that a lot actually.
And it doesn't need. I see a lot of people say it should solely be marksman spec. I think it could be all three, realistically speaking, because like you see the Thanos, who is a Dark Ranger, use melee weapons. So that could be for survival. Beastmaster, you could just be like really cool undead pets or something. Because again, like, I don't like using him as an example, but Thanos is like the perfect example for a Dark Ranger who's like multi-spec. Because like he's wielding weapons, he's got hounds.
Yeah.
I would just like to see it added up, like just tacked on as customization options for the Forsaken without any real restrictions. But I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
It should definitely be something that Blood Elves and Forsaken should definitely have. I already know Forsaken have the Red Eye option, but Blood Elves don't. So like it could be a customization option and like a class skin option. Like your abilities are like all dark and grim and all the other stuff. I don't like know how to exactly explain it, but like kind of like the Green Fire quest chain. I think that'd be a tremendous way of introducing more class skins. I think that's a good way of doing about it.
Yeah, like that would actually work really well for like just Dark Ranger in particular too. Like and again, like that could be something like, say you played a Blood Elf Hunter, right? And you did a quest line that like, and even if it's like a choice that you make and you can't particularly, like you could probably go back on it, but like it's a quest line that involves your character becoming a Dark Ranger or something. You know what I mean? Like that would be really awesome. And they could use some of the Dark Rangers that I forget her name, forgive me, the one that defected from Sylvanas at the end of BFA. But like it could involve her. No, that would be really cool though.
Yeah.
Dark Ranger Velanera. She is the current leader of the Dark Rangers, it looks like.
I always thought that Dark Ranger in the Sarfang scene in 8.1 was really cool. Where they like attack his hut.
I don't think those were Dark Rangers. I think those were Deathstalkers.
Wait. No, I thought they were Dark Rangers that attacked him.
No, because they didn't have elf ears. They were solely Forsaken, I think.
Oh.
Because they had the same
Dark Ranger, right?
They had the same look that Banner Bay had. Like they reused her model for them, or rather, they used that model for Banner Bay.
Oh,
right.
Wait. The ones like
so
that when like Zakan defends. Oh yeah, you're right, Skull. I think it's one Dark Ranger, and then it's all the rest like Forsaken.
In the Safe Haven cinematic and in the
Oh yeah, Safe Haven was the Forsaken guy.
Yeah, they were Forsaken. I think they're both ladies. Just looking at their figure, I could be wrong though.
No, you're right. You're right.
It was two Forsaken. I think they're Deathstalkers, which is what like the rogue faction for the Forsaken are. They're like Sylvanas' elite rogue group. Like Belmont is like a leader of them, I believe. And then in Reckoning, there's a single Forsaken who like I don't think there were any Dark Rangers in that in Reckoning. Like they're all Forsaken troops on top of the gate and at the front of the gate with the flag.
Yeah, no, Reckoning there was no Dark Rangers. It was the it wasn't in like a cutscene. It was like it was just a Dark Ranger.
No,
yeah.
I know what you're referring to now. There was a single Dark Ranger in charge of hunting down Sarfang and like bringing him back to the Horde or executing him. And you have the choice of either standing with her or opposing her, which if you're a sane person, you oppose her. But either
I was
way,
about to say we know Skull sided with her as Bannerek.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
And obviously, Box the Hoosian Pandaren sided with the Dark Ranger against Sarfang.
How dare
I'm just
Box?
kidding. I'm just kidding.
A few of mine go that route. I had
to have my Demon Hunter go that route because I wanted to see the loyalist side of things. It really, I'll be honest with you, the Sarfang path is way more interesting. There's way more going on. Because, like, if you choose the Sylvanas path, you kind of just stand aside. That's all you kind of do. You don't really, like, go on, like, unique missions. Like, I think that, like, the Loyalists, like, and this is just, like, from my point of view, and, like, I feel bad saying this because I'm, like, at a core, you know, anti-Loyalist, but I feel like the Loyalists should have gotten more.
I think the big purpose of, like, the Loyalist path was not so much to have a divergent path, but to reframe the path that already exists. I think it would have taken obviously a whole other, like, developing a whole other storyline to really kind of give it, I don't want to say justice, but like to do that, which you know, they probably had to keep those resources focused on what they were already working on. But yeah, like I said, I think the purpose was just to kind of reframe what you're already doing. It's less about helping and more knowing what they're up to and feeding that information back to Sylvanas and Nathanos so you can know how to counter what's going on. You're the perfect undercover agent, so to say.
Yeah, I do like what they do with it in Shadowlands. It's very subtle, but there's a moment where, like, you, like, approach Sylvanas and Ardenweald, and there's different dialogue options depending on if you're a Loyalist or not. And, like, she, like, tells... Yeah, that's something that I saw on Twitter. Very early on, actually, and you can just stand there and not attack her, and the cinematic will just play out as it does. Or you can attack her regardless. Like, you can be like, well, I was a Loyalist once, now I'm not. It's really, it's actually a really cool moment that they added, and I liked that. I wish that they added more things like it. But, yeah. I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to say what I want for Sylvanas, because I didn't get to say that earlier. In terms of, like, her fate or whatever after Shadowlands, or during Shadowlands, I guess, is, I think that I would just like her to either, if she is done, like, she's no longer going to come back to Azeroth, like, that's a fate that she chooses, I'd like her to be sent to Revendreth. Or I would like her to be sent to the, like, not actually sent to the Maw, but, like, sent on a mission in the Maw to gather up all the souls that she sent there and, like, bring them out of it. Like, I would love it if her...
I like that, Skoll, actually. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. I've had this as an idea since 9.1. Since 9.1 concluded. But I love it if, like, the first two souls that she drags out of there is Saurfang and Nathanos. Because... one, she dooms Saurfang to his fate, and he doesn't deserve that. It's like my biggest contention with Shadowlands at the moment is, like, I want my boy out of there. Like, that's not fair to Saurfang and Zelling. Like, get them out of the Maw. They don't deserve that. They're fan favorites for a reason. I don't want their final and ultimate fates to be turned into Maw Sworn, or their souls to be ripped to shreds like Garrosh. Like, they don't deserve that. They deserve better. So, I think that'd be a really good, because, like, that'd be a good moment for her, because she's the one who sent them there, and it would, like, speak volumes of her character to save people who used to oppose her.
The last time she saw Nathanos, too, she sent him away, didn't she, at the end of Shadows Rising?
She sent him away in anger. She was disappointed in him, and, like, you know, he was, like, you know, disappointed in himself, but...
You didn't kill Bonsamdi.
If I may, on the topic of Nathanos, that does make me wonder with the soul severing thing that Sylvanas is recovering from. I'm not too sure how to phrase that, but where does that put her and Nathanos? Because I mean, obviously they had something going on. I mean, what happens when she's like, she's got it, you know, she's herself again, and Nathanos is like my queen or something, and.
I don't think their relationship is gonna change very much. He was doing that when she was alive, so I think it's basically just picking up where they left off then, and just being like, oh, you're back to acting a little less aggressive to me. Okay, this actually makes our relationship a little less toxic.
Nathanos, like, I mean, obviously you have to worry about Sylvanas' redemption. Nathanos was obviously playing along for the entire thing too. I mean,
he had no qualms with what he was doing. He even had fun doing it, and that's kind of where I lie with Sylvanas and Nathanos. They had fun doing what they did at the same time, but they also, like, Sylvanas now has the piece of her that, like, regrets those decisions and hates those decisions, and I don't think that Thanos was killed by Arthas in the same way, and I don't think he was even killed by Arthas. So I don't think he had the soul severing that Sylvanas did. And this is like something that went all the way back in the Mirror short story, where his nephew's body is the one he's inhabiting currently, or rather his nephew's body was used to make his body less rotted and decayed. And after he went through that Valkyrie ritual where, like, apparently it's what Death Knights go through to make their bodies more modified and less grody, he felt regret afterwards, and he didn't know what to do with that feeling. And there was never... I mean, like, it was focused on a little bit in some of the cinematics. Like, there was moments of him, doubting, like, pausing or whatever, but we never really got him to, like, showcase that. And I wonder if Nathanos' arc was cut, or
maybe we'll see that going forward too. Like I wonder, because that's one of my favorite moments, Skoll, is during the burning of Teldrassil when he does that look up at Sylvanas and she tells him to burn the tree.
One of the things I mean, like, everyone focuses on, like, I mean, of course I'm gonna gush about Sarfang a lot, but like Sarfang was like the only Horde leader who like outright opposed that sort of situation and deal, and like in the books he apparently is like throwing himself at people trying to stop them, and like we never really see that in the cinematics. We just see him like yell at her. It's a shame that we never actually get to see him like brawl people for like doing this, and I feel like that's something that was really missing, because like a lot of people think that Teldrassil was like a one and done deal where all of the Horde were fine with it when they were present. Not all of them felt that way, and I feel like I know that's like completely off topic, but it's just something I like bringing up, because people have this mindset that all of the Horde are evil and they love burning people alive, which is not true at all. So, but
yourself. I'm kidding.
Wow! Whoa!
Dang,
it's a joke.
I thought you were a Helosian player, Kai. Come on.
I know.
Fire and steel.
Campfire now. Jesus.
One of my favorite moments. This is random too, but it's kind of going back to like how characters think of the Horde and the burning of Teldrassil. I really like how I don't know why I thought of G-Fire all of a sudden because we said the word Helosian, but I like how like he didn't want to see like another Siege of Orgrimmar. And,
oh yeah, that's a great moment.
That was such a good character moment for him. Because that was like before that, people talked about that, like how is G gonna react to all this, and we got a lot of his thoughts actually in dialogue on like the situation. That was
it was really, if I just made really quick added comment, it was one of the low key but most awesome things was seeing like the Hojin and Tushre like standing together in Thunder Bluff. Even though like there wasn't really anything done with that, like it was still really cool to see, just as a, I don't know.
God, I remember you and me gushing about how G-Fire pose like Sarfang would have made a fine Hwaujin and all this other stuff. Like that's like right up your guys' alley. And like for me, it's like I understand it because you guys love it so much. For me, you know, I was very passionate about it because Sarfang became one of my favorite characters in BFA, which prior to BFA, I thought he was okay, but like, god damn, they made me like, I honestly think he's like right up there in like, I think he beat Thrall for me in BFA, which was shocking. He hasn't beaten Rexar yet, but you broke the rule earlier, Box. I'm allowed to break it too. But yeah, Sarfang was great. But like I just loved all the little tiny moments in BFA with the leaders, even the big moments too, of course. But like BFA had a lot of moments with like the Horde leaders talking to one another, addressing things. I still really love the Horde meeting in Stormsong. That was great.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? Because like I know the topic of this podcast has been Shattered Legacies. But isn't it cool how much discussion can be started off that one cinematic when you think about it, though? Like, think of how many people Sylvanas has affected and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting, because, like, we've talked about a lot of different characters related to that. Like, of people she's affected, that her actions affected. Like, it's pretty cool. Sorry, I know it's a small thing, but...
So Sylvanas has affected so many characters throughout the years, and like I've seen so many discussions about like one of the biggest things that I think like with Sylvanas is like the characterization of her has changed a lot throughout the years, and like is she on like back in Cataclysm there was the question that Garrosh dropped on her of what difference is there between you and the Lich King now, which is very honestly true. Like without the Horde, we honestly saw Sylvanas basically act like a Lich King 2.0 along the side of Zovol, which actually, with that line in my head, it makes sense why Zovol went to her when Bolvar wouldn't. Like, she honestly probably was the perfect person for him to use for everything to happen, everything to go, because of how much doubt she had in the system of the afterlife. Even, like, she's had it for a while, so I understand why they used her as the character to fall on that. I just wish that we had a little bit more build up between her and the jailer. Like, I would have loved it for like loyalists if like, you know, they would she would like name drop the jailer by accident or something. I know the whole point of it was she's like a character that holds things close to the chest, but that would have been nice for, you know, build up purposes.
Yeah, a little bit of more of an incentive, I guess.
Yeah,
or
throw people
like
a
a special
bone.
treat for taking the path less taken, I guess.
That could have been the loyalist ending. I would have been fine with that. Like,
Yeah.
The jailer awaits us or something. I don't know. Something that's throwing the bone. But yeah, just
Ominous, like ellipses, and then he is coming, kind of thing.
Yeah. We've had Sylvanas on this path for a while now. It wasn't for like, I know a lot of people, they were shocked by it, but for me it was like it became less a matter of like if she'll turn, it was a matter of when she'll turn. Like she was a what's the word for it? She was something that was going to explode at some point, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And finally it did, and now it's weird because like I was expecting her to kind of just drop dead and be done with, but I think it's actually a way more interesting that we have a character who's learning to regret their decisions, and we kind of have to deal with that in a way.
And we need her to right now is the thing.
Yeah.
There's no other person that can help us take down the jailer. And Sylvanas probably knows how to break the domination power that's on Anduin right now.
I'll be genuinely surprised if she comes back with us to Azeroth. That is in my own opinion, and I do kind of want her to take a break after this. Like I'm kind of tired of her in the spotlight. I will flat out admit that. But it would be interesting to see her come back to Azeroth after everything, cuz like I honestly I do think that she should be like jailed or, you know, judged for what she did. I don't think she should just get away with it. Just because she helped us out in freeing Anduin and stopping the jailer, because she still did these crimes, which is what I really like about in the cinematic. It flat out has her say, her crimes are unforgivable, and like, you know, Uther says yes, and then, you know, the one line that you really like, Box, where like, we may never be forgiven, but inaction damns us all. I feel like that's straight up the path that they're doing with her. Like she's gonna get judged for what she did. She has to be. So I'm really curious if they do have her come back with us to Azeroth. Does she just go to like a prison like the Vault of the Wardens or Violet Hold or something, or like the Stockades, or like does she have like community service for like the Horde or the Alliance or something? Like I'm genuinely curious to see what they're going to do with her. I'd be very surprised though if they do have her come back with us to Azeroth though.
I don't know why when you said like community service, I just picture her like watering plants or something like in one of the cities.
Everybody's like scowling at her as they walk by, just like, oh, you did those bad things, and she just kind of like ducks her head a little and waters the plant, like, oh.
She's oh god, send her to Hyjal. Oh god.
Make her clean up trash.
She's gotta clean up all the litter in Mount Hyjal.
She's like, don't make me pull out a match, and then they just look at her and she's like slowly puts in her pocket.
Yeah, she's not allowed to be near anything flammable.
Or any trees.
Yeah. Or any
Oh,
trees,
good
yeah.
luck with that.
Doesn't matter.
Trees are everywhere.
Well,
I mean,
that's
like-
the reason why she's got to stay in the Shadowlands. It's for her own good.
No, just send her to Desolus. She'll be good there.
She's just gotta. Well, there's trees in Desolus now.
Oh no! Don't let it go to the center part of Desolus.
I imagine like it's like one of those like sitcom things where like a character like puts a what are they called, like a beeper, and like every time she approaches a tree the beeper goes off, and like she has to like slowly back off from it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Made me think of totally off topic, but it made me think of the Dead Money DLC from New Vegas. If anybody's played that, but yeah.
I don't play other video games
I
other than
don't know
WoW.
I never played the DLC on New Vegas, Kai. I need to play
That's
it
so
at some
sad.
point, though.
It's so good. But anyway, totally off topic.
Yeah, we kind of ran off topic again, but I mean we're still talking about
It's-
Sylvanas, so
Yeah, it's still kind of on topic of like, I guess like where her character's going after the cinematic. I mean, I think overall that cinematic, like at least for me, it, like just kind of to conclude things a little bit, the discussion like sent her in a path like I think I'm okay with, like story wise.
I still don't think like redemption is the word I use. I see a lot of people getting upset like, oh, redemption arc Sylvanas, redemption arc Sylvanas. I think atonement is the more proper word.
Yes.
Because like redemption implies that she's going to be forgiven for her crimes. Atonement is more like, all right, I did a bunch of terrible things. I need to do something about it. I feel like that's the more route they're going. I mean, but me watching the cinematic, I think it was perfectly clear that they're not doing a redemption arc, but that's just me. I mean, we'll see how 9.2 plays out, but that's how I think about it. One thing that they need to not do, I think, is I'm kind of okay with like Bane and Thrall forgiving her, and maybe Jaina, but the one character they can't have her like forgive her or whatever
It's Tyrande.
is Tyrande.
Yeah.
Like that's the big no. Like that's just, if they do that, that is like playing with fire. That is not good.
I wonder
that is...
like if she did come back, what Kalia Menethil would think of her.
Oh, I want them to interact. They're in Kalia Menethil is in the Shadowlands, and they haven't done anything with her yet. And I'm like,
that would be a really interesting character interaction, actually. Just thinking about it.
I get the feeling we're gonna see some of that in the next expansion.
I feel like they're building up Kalia Menethil to be the new leader of the Forsaken, but so much the Forsaken fanbase hates her, so like Blizzard's been holding off on it. I think everyone's okay with Lillian Voss because Lillian Voss is a fan favorite, but like Lillian Voss doesn't want the role. So
yeah,
I have like, I kind of, you know, like I don't want this to happen, but I'd be okay if it happened. And like this is like again like my whole point of like, if they have Sylvanas come back with us and she rejoins the Forsaken, I don't want her in an exact leader position, but I'd love to have her like almost in an advisor role in the same way that Voss is right now. It would speak volumes of having someone like Sylvanas and Kalia and Lillian Voss working together as the leaders of the Forsaken, just to showcase how different they all are now, but that's also in playing with fire. The Forsaken community really does not like Kalia.
So Skoll, sorry.
Yeah.
This is just on that topic. So like, what if like we go to that whole plot line where like the light kind of starts taking over everything, and Kalia starts converting Forsaken to like these like light forged undead or whatever.
Ooh.
And Sylvanas frees her people essentially from her again. Do you think, would you be happy with that kind of storyline for Sylvanas if she came back with us?
I think that's like, playing with fire is the word I've been using a lot today, but that would be, because like I don't hate Kalia Menethil. I never really got this like, I see a lot of people like, I remember during BFA, this is the biggest thing that I remember, it was like people thought that Kalia Menethil was going to recruit like Lightforged Forsaken into the Horde, and like it was going to like make everything that's cool about the Forsaken like removed and everything. It never happens, and she never became the leader, and she even says, I don't want to be the leader of the Forsaken. Leave me out of it. So, and like obviously she gets pulled into it by Voss to like help the Forsaken at the very least, which I think is a better role for her. I think that her being like their therapist is a better thing. I mean, a lot of people don't like that because they like say, oh, she's not even been forsaken for a day and she's already making them go through therapy. What does she know? Blah, 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 blah. But like, I always based it off of like her experiences with Alonza's Fall. That's how I always took away from it, because she is his student.
Right.
I don't think I really like because that's just URL 2.0, you know? Like, we already have a semi-decent female character who's gone full-on crazy in converting not just the Draenei, but the orcs too, into being light zombies, basically. I don't think I really want that for Kalia. I think it would be interesting to have Sylvanas do that again, but at the same time, though, you've already told that story, and like at the same, I keep saying this, but like I think we need a break from Sylvanas after BFA, Legion, Shadowlands, etc. Like, we've had 3 expansions with her at the focus. Give her a break. Give her an Illidan vacation. You know, like, that's kind of how I feel about it. I think that Kalia Menethil deserves to, if she's going to become the leader of the Forsaken, push her into that role slowly, not force it. Like, I think that a lot of the concerns and worries that people have about Kalia, this is what I actually had a while ago. I said this when Kalia Menethil was a point of to talk about, but I think it'd be cooler if the light betrays the world or whatever, and you have Kalia Menethil, you know, who was a supporter of the light, witness this, and instead of joining them, she rejects the light, rejects those gifts, and she starts to molt away and become more Forsaken-like. And that's her showing of how much she cares about her people. She chooses her people over the light. And that would be a powerful moment, and that would make everyone kind of rest easy about Kalia, because people's biggest concern about Kalia is how different she is from the Forsaken, and how like anti-Forsaken she is, and how perfect she is. Like, she's very much like, people are worried that she's going to be a Mary Sue, and I think it'd be a perfect way of showing, no, she's not going to choose the light over her people. That's what I would love personally. That's what I want for Kalia.
I dig it. So we're at about an hour right now. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about related to the cinematic?
It was a really good cinematic, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it was honestly really awesome. I think the facial animations really, really took it away.
I will also echo those words, Kai.
I hope that I want to like echo the words that you said earlier. I hope we get more models for characters like that. Like Sylvanas and Thrall and Anduin have gotten a lot of models over the course of this expansion. I mean, Thrall only got 1, but it's one of his best. But I hope that they add more models in the future for prominent characters, especially for like Rokon and Gazlo and the 3 leaders of the dwarves. Like, they really need new models that are unique. Like, I remember at the end of Legion when we got the Bane and the Thanos and Sarfang models and the Gallywix model. I was so excited. Model. I love playing with it in Narcissus, because in Narcissus you can just like throw him around and his chins go all over the place. Like, they gave 3D assets to his chin. It's great.
So I think at this point, if anyone has anything they want us to cover, any questions for us, I know if Taryn Gregory, if you're there, I know you definitely have some questions about the cinematics for us. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Taryn, you got questions, obviously. We have all the answers. we totally worked on the cinematic.
we secretly created the whole thing.
I secretly worked on the Wrathgate, definitely. No, I didn't.
It was Skoll. It was you that added Rexar in that one.
I would, if it was up to me, I would add Rexar to every cinematic. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Rexar's just random. Like, you just like randomly see him walking in Ardenweald while Ysera's being resurrected.
This is true, because you do it in Machinima a lot, Skoll. You put Rexar in the background, and Chen and Rokon.
I need to start doing that again. I haven't been doing it in my most recent Machinimas. I want to bring it back.
Skull suddenly in charge of the WoW narrative thing, and he just like goes back and backward edits everything to have Rexar in it. Like you've got the cutscene where Ace is scolding G about blowing up Shinzen Su, and as she's walking away, Rexar just like teleports in like DBZ style, and he's like, actually.
I would. This is like to get Box's bubbles bursting, but I'd have him sitting there eating some chicken while like Asa walks away. He's like,
oh, chicken.
Yeah, chicken.
No!
This is a reminder for everyone that Box hates chicken, and it's a crime.
Steak is where it's at. Oh, don't tell the Tauren I'm gonna be kicked out of the Horde.
Damn, Box, you eating?
Box is trying to speedrun getting kicked out of the Horde, I'm convinced.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, no.
He's trying to set that any percent right now.
He wants to race change to Zandalari. He's a big Sylvanas supporter in secret.
Garrosh lover.
He's a Garrosh lover. He thinks he's got Lei Shen as a wallpaper in the background. He's got Garrosh standing next to Chen Stormstout for some reason in his
I actually do in my
collection.
setup behind me. I have a figure of Garrosh and Chen just standing next to each other. Is it bad that I think that Garrosh might be my favorite Warcraft character?
Yes.
Yes. No, I'm kidding.
No, like 100%. I think Garrosh might be my favorite lore character.
No, it's fine. I like poking your buttons, but Garrosh is a good character. Like all of his faults and all of his misdeeds. It's so weird. Like, and this is like on the same level with Sylvanas. Like, some people like legit think that people who like Garrosh and Sylvanas are like terrible people. When they just like a character who's terrible. That doesn't make them terrible. That's weird.
Yeah, it's cool to like bad guys. Like, you don't have to like. I don't understand that concept. It's like they're evil and stuff like that. That's fine. I mean, it doesn't make them any less interesting as a character. You can still like them.
I mean, Gul'dan is like one of my favorite villains, and I'm a big orc fan. And like Garrosh and Gul'dan are probably like the worst orc characters, like in terms of like baddies, like what they did to the orcs and what they did to their people. But like, they're cool. I like them. They're like, it's because they're evil that I like them. Because like without them, like the story's bland. Like picture the story of Mista Pandaria without Garrosh. Picture the story of Gul'dan not in WoD. Like
They make those
so much.
Garrosh's pride is like what makes him so interesting, because like in his mind, like, and obviously in his final death cinematic you see it, but he truly believes what he's doing is the right thing for the orcs. Like, I think we've talked about it, but that For the Horde scream at the end has like a totally different connotation than like
I like how
when Thrall yells it.
I like how you set up the rules that we weren't going to talk about Garrosh, and you immediately broke them, and now you're just like, I mean, we might as well just not even set up those rules at the start box. Because so far, every podcast we've done since we've came back, you've been going on about Garrosh. Someone has to point that out.
This is a random thing, but if Terran's still here, the Siege of Orgrimmar cinematic is like my favorite WoW cinematic.
Oh,
like,
that's one of my favorites.
I get
so
chills
good.
every time I watch it between Terran Zoo, Garrosh. I love his like speech, like, the armies of the world will come for me, and within my fortress they will face all the terrible creatures I have wrought, the boundless power I have mastered, and one by one they will fall at my feet. Anyone who will rise against my new horde will be impaled upon the spires of Orgrimmar. I've watched that too many times. I'm sorry.
I have watched it so many times. I remember when that cinematic came out, I had like a bunch of friends return to WoW. Like, they were like, holy shit, that cinematic was so good. And it was good. It was so good because you had like a fight between Terran and Garrosh. And one of my favorite things in WoW is whenever they have fight scenes.
Yes.
I remember when they had the Tyrande versus Sylvanas one, I was like, yes, get her. That was so cool. Thrall versus Garrosh is probably one of my favorite cinematics in the game.
The music too, and like the shots in it are so good.
One of the things I've noticed that they've been doing, again, this might just because Terran was here or is here, but they've been reusing the music a lot. And like for other games, like people get like, butthurt about it. But like for me, it's like it gives the cinematic more power because you can reminisce and like remember those scenes. Like again with the Vol'jin funeral we talked about on how like that changes the whole scene entirely. I remember in BFA when Thrall is talking about when he's talking to Jaina and like he's like he like says sometimes feels like I did everything wrong.
Oh, you can hear the Makara theme in the background.
And yeah, you can hear when he talks about the moment he drops Garrosh is when the music starts picking up where it goes dun. And it's so good.
I love how like even after his conversation with Draka, he still takes responsibility a little bit for that situation too. Like he's still like even he's kind of like I get like that's what I got from that.
Yeah, it's like he plans it out in his head. Like he constantly is blaming himself, and it makes sense because he's been blaming himself since that happened, and that's the big reason why he couldn't use the elements. Everyone thought, oh, it's because he cheated. No, it's because he blames himself, and like that act of picking up Garrosh and burning him to a crisp with that giant lightning bolt. I'm sure that haunts him.
I think
because
he truly
that was
did care about Garrosh for a long time too.
No, he
loved
him.
Did. Yeah.
Garrosh was like a brother to him or a friend or I don't know what, because Garrosh is technically older than Thrall, which is so weird every time I put that into context. But
it always seems like he's younger, but I guess maybe that's what the pressure of War Chief does to you.
Yeah, Thrall kind of had to. Thrall in his entirety had to mature really fast. He didn't really have time to be a kid. Ever, really. I think Thrall was actually robbed of his childhood when you think about it, because all his life he was built up as this gladiator and then the savior of his people, then the world shaman, then a father figure, and then he's back in the leadership of the orcs. Like, this guy gets, like, no vacation time.
So, I think at this point it might be a good time to wrap down for tonight, but do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
No, not here. I think we pretty much covered it.
It's gonna take me forever to get used to Sylvanas' blue eyes. It's so weird not seeing her have red eyes anymore.
I do want to say to anyone who's watching, I hope you guys all have been having a happy holiday season, especially just with because this is probably going to be, we'll do one more podcast this year next Sunday, unless, are you guys going to be free next week on Sunday?
I should.
Just because it's the day after Christmas, but yeah, we should be able to do one more then before the end of the year, but I just want to wish you all a happy holiday with your families. It's been a tough year, with everything, and I hope that we're able to provide just a little happiness on everyone's day if they watch your podcast, And I also do want to say, if you're here, it is incredibly humbling that you watched this tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, do you guys have anything else you'd like to say tonight?
Happy holidays, and don't drink a lot of eggnog.
I already drink a lot of eggnog.
That's a good way to destroy your stomach.
Oh please, I have no stomach. Jikai, aka Kwong,
aka just about every male Pandaren you're ever seen in the game. Yeah, happy holidays. Honestly, it's a blast every time to be on here and chat with everybody, and yeah, I can't wait to see what's coming next.
We will see you guys next time.